Well, Riesling is a fascinating wine style because if you talk to wine critics, if you talk to winemakers, and you talk to, I guess, technicians and professionals in the trade, everybody loves Riesling. It's the wine that experts love to talk about and consumers don't buy. And it's been like that certainly in the 30 years that I've been in the industry. And we all would love to see Riesling make its way in the world again because it makes such incredibly intense, aromatic, beautiful wines across a range of sweetness styles. I'm John Belsham. I'm a winemaker from Marlborough in New Zealand, and we're in Central Otago today. We're in the Bannockburn region, one of the more dramatic wine growing landscapes you'll see. There's been dramatic growth in the industry here, certainly through the latter part of the 90s and the early part of the 2000s, when people really discovered that it's a combination of a beautiful landscape, exciting wines, and a lifestyle opportunity for people. There's a little over 2,000 hectares of vines and 100 wine producers within the region. So that gives you an amazing diversity of wineries and personalities involved in the industry here. These vines are growing in a very dry, windy environment, so they struggle. And everybody understands that when a fruit-bearing plant, but particularly a grapevine, struggles, it puts its energy into its fruit. So these vines go through the growing season, they battle the environment, they battle the cold spring, they battle the heat of the summer, they battle the wind. They have relatively small foliage and these amazingly intensely flavoured bunches of grapes. So we're here in Bannockburn at this beautiful vineyard, Felton Road. This Riesling aspect of the vineyard is in beautiful condition. As you can see, we're at maturity of the season. We've got lignified wood, we've got beautiful green leaves that are working and continuing to ripen these bunches of Riesling. These vines are around about 18 years old, and you can see the trunks are well established. You can see the fruits extremely evenly distributed. Enough sun exposure, not too much sun exposure, because with Riesling you don't actually want the berries to be too exposed to the sun. So here we have a very typical bunch of Riesling approaching maturity, and as you can see it's well exposed on the vine, but the point of difference that we see with Riesling and the way that the vineyard is managed than, for example, Pinot Noir, is that we're not looking for uniformity of ripening. With Pinot Noir, what we want is for every berry to taste the same, so that the wine has this uniformity and homogeneous aspect to it. With Riesling, we're championing the fact that there are different flavours, and it's the combination of the different flavours which gives us palate interest. So as you can see, this side of the bunch, which is receiving the eastern sun, the morning sun, which is the sun that the berry absorbs, there's a yellowing colour, there's a slight speckled aspect to it, which will become even more speckled over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And those berries have a very ripe, rich, slightly tropical note to them. If I taste that, it's like a nashi pear or a slightly underripe mango. However, if I turn the bunch and I'm looking at the bunch which has not been receiving the direct sunlight, it's receiving refracted sunlight, you can see that they are much greener. And those berries will remain at a different ripeness level to these ones until picking. And these berries have less sugar, they're higher in acidity, they taste greener. And that gives us the wonderful spicy lemon, lime, citrus notes. The combination of the two together when it's pressed gives us the full palate spectrum of Riesling. So one of the aspects of Riesling that is very important to manage is the amount of sun exposure, sun and light exposure. Being in Central Otago, there's a lot of UV light and there's also very long summer days. So the winemaker is looking how to manage that. Here we're looking at, this is the side of the vines that receives the afternoon sun. So this is the western side, and the afternoon sun is the hottest sun. So the winemaker and viticulturalist have left a layer of leaves to act as a little sun umbrella. Conversely, if we look on the eastern side, which is the part of the vine that receives the morning sun, which is, it's as much sunlight, but it's cooler. And the response by the viticultural team here is to open the canopy up more, so there's more fruit exposure. So if you look at the concept of the more exposed on the eastern side and the less exposed on the western side, you ultimately finish up with an even distribution of sunlight. We see some beautiful examples of Riesling in central Otago. Similarly, we see other areas of the South Island that grow fascinating styles, the Canterbury region, the Marlborough region and the Nelson region. Once we move into the North Island, we get into the much more tropical styles of Riesling. Hawke's Bay is as far north as Riesling will grow and produce good results in New Zealand. This vineyard, point of interest, is an organic property. So you can see there's been no herbicides used, there are no pesticides used, and the soil, as you can see, is here it's a mixture of silt loam sitting over the schist gravels, and it's been mounded up in a process to, one, eliminate the weeds, but two, also to build the organic material back into the root zone. We are here at Felton Road Winery today in Bannockburn, Central Otago, very well known for its Pinot Noir, but also for its wonderful Rieslings. This is a 2010 dry Riesling and grown on the slopes here in Bannockburn. And as you can see, it's got this beautiful clarity of almost luminescent lime green colour. Wonderful fragrances, apple blossom, lemon zest, citrus, beautifully lifted aromatics. White peach, nectarine. The palate is beautifully pure and long. It's tight and spicy in the front palate. There's length, there's concentration, there's texture, and this very, very typical Central Otago refreshing acidity that just, it whets your appetite, and that's why Riesling is such a great aperitif style, because it gets your saliva going, it invites you to have another taste. Riesling has so many expressions. It can be very dry and quite flinty, it can be medium dry, it can be sweet, it can be extremely sweet, it can be a dessert wine. This is a typical example from this region, from Central, and it has got the freshness and the life and the natural acidity that you'd expect from such a cool region. Well, Riesling is always known as an aperitif. It's a wonderful glass to end the day with or to begin the meal with. It should be served fresh and cold, not too cold, but with a chill on it. And Riesling can be drunk just as a refreshing glass of wine on its own. And in terms of food matching, seafood, I guess it's a wine style that some people struggle with understanding when to drink it. And the reality is you can drink it at any time. It's a bit of a mystery, but it's never quite had the popularity yet. I'm sure it will. Riesling on the Plain is my favourite white table wine because it's beautifully aromatic, it's delicate, but it's got enough substance. And in the ear it works really well, because in the ear often wines change their appearance a little, and Riesling is one of those wines that seems to show more positive aromas in the ear. There's no question, you know, once you get inside that aeroplane, you're in New Zealand before you land in New Zealand. The wines that are served on board are very much about the place that you're going to visit, if you're a first-time visitor, or they're about home if you're going home.